Right, so thank you to everyone that's joined us this afternoon for an impromptu Q&A, I guess, on a few different topics, one of them being season tickets, one of them being match tickets, and then just any other kind of areas that we wanted to talk about. We're joined by Chief Executive Danny Macklin today. So, Danny, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, and look forward to the questions. I hope, more importantly, everyone is well.
Good stuff. Well, we've had quite a few in, and if you are watching on YouTube, you can use the comment box to your right hand side to put your questions in as you go. So we'll try our best to kind of monitor them and get as many of them done as we can. So we'll get kicked off with the ones that have come in by email. And the first one is from Ollie, who has said, hi there, I'm looking to move stands for the upcoming season. However, it does not give you the option to pick your seat. Will I be able to do this, as I would like to sit with a friend who already sits in that stand?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Ollie and Luke, for asking it. So I think it's important to give some context to why we're doing this process that we are doing. We're needing to complete a form and send that through. So at the moment, we're in transition period between two ticket systems. So we're switching to a new system called Green 4, which will allow us to understand our fans better than we currently do, and for us to communicate in a more personalised way, and for the experience, more important than any of that, to be far more easier, smoother for every single fan out there. So to answer the specific question, if Ollie would kindly complete the form, if he hasn't done already, we will then be in touch as soon as we possibly can, and then we can arrange and try and find the best seat available for the stand that he wants to be in next season at Borough Stadium.
Stuff. On to the next one from Ben, again from in on email. He said, do you know when those who pre-purchased the new home shirt via the club's crowdfunder will receive them? Will we receive them before everyone else, as was said when purchasing?
In short, yes. Firstly, Ben, thank you for those and everyone else who was able to take advantage of the quite innovative crowdfunding scheme we did. We very much, as soon as the shirts come, at the moment they're in transition from the Far East. As soon as they arrive in the UK, that will be the first batch that we take out, and we'll send those in advance of the masses that have now placed their order for the shirt. So yeah, thank you again, and rest assured that'll be on its way to you at some stage during July.
I'll follow up to that. Can you give a number of how many shirts we've sold, or?
Yeah, I mean, every day it's going up, as you know, Luke, and we're now at 3,600, which is 140% of what we sold last year. Bearing in mind the shirt's not available to see in the shop yet, I can only see that that's going to go, well in excess of 5,000. That was the target that we set, and yeah, thanks to the innovative sponsorship scheme that Harry Kane has given us, that has given us unprecedented shirt sales. And Luke, you've had the benefit of obviously seeing all three shirts, and yeah, I think they're all going to fly off their shelf in different ways. The braces kit, unsurprisingly, has proven exceptionally popular, but so's the home shirt, and so's the quite snazzy design. I think that was my words, not yours, of the black kit.
We're saying you can see the home shirt behind you at the moment, and I think it is one. Yeah, I think that when people see it in the flesh, they'll really be happy with it.
Yeah, well, I'm one of the lucky ones. Me and Harry Kane have got a shirt so far, so don't give away where I live. I don't want a passionate Orient fan coming around to get it, but yeah, these will be signed, and we'll be doing something special with those, that's for sure.
Brilliant. Moving on to a question from Darren. He's asked, I've been a season ticket holder for many years, and due to being on furlough, I've had to take option 3. I'm waiting to hear back from the club on how much credit I have, so I can't purchase a season card just yet, but I only have a short amount of time to qualify for the early bird offer. Will the club extend it because of this?
Yeah, first of all, Darren, I hope everything's well. I appreciate the difficulty. Obviously, a number of our staff are being furloughed, so I appreciate it gives challenging and sort of uncertain times. So I very much hope you are well. So in terms of answering your specific question to that, we will obviously come back to you as soon as we possibly can. We are going to review the early bird window. If it is something that we extend, it won't be something that we do lightly. It will be done for a number of factors, mainly in that we await further information from the EFL in terms of a potential season start date, and also it gives a chance for us to play catch up with the literally hundreds and thousands of updates that we've received in terms of from fans of wanting to purchase season tickets, many for the first time, many for renewing. So I'd like to use this opportunity as well to thank everyone for their patience as we go through that quite arduous process for the reason I gave a moment ago. And yeah, there's literally a couple of people that are not furloughed that are working through night and day to do that. I want to thank they know who they are. I think most fans will know who they are, but I want to thank them for their literally countless efforts that they're doing to plough through everything from a retail point of view, from a ticketing point of view, from a season card point of view. And they're doing a sterling job. So thanks everyone for the patience that they're showing. So in terms of calculating, Darren, your amount, so literally whatever it was that you spent on your season card, obviously that'd be varied on when you purchased and what category you're in. Divide that by 23 and then times that by the 4 games that we sadly all missed out on at the end of the season. But any queries, as I'll say with anyone, then you've obviously got our club contact details and you've got my contact details on Twitter, and we'll give you the answer if that one doesn't fully answer it.
Good one. On to number 4 from Steve, who's coming by email again. He said, whilst I appreciate the club have difficult working conditions at the moment during these unprecedented times, I'm concerned I've not been contacted about my season ticket renewal application I made on the 4th of June. I'm worried that my preferred seat will be sold to someone else or that I'll miss the early bird discount.
Yeah, thanks, Steve, for the question and most importantly for your continued support. So to elaborate what I just said there, so there's a huge amount of catch up we're playing with, the absolute monumental amount of inquiries that we're getting. And the team, as I said, literally I say team, it's 2 people, will continue to plough through that. We will be in contact on a first come basis as those inquiries come in. And yeah, we're conducting most of the calls at the weekend. And yeah, we'll come back to you as soon as we can. But I can assure you, if your seat was there for 19-20 season, if you're renewing that time frame, which clearly you've given that intention, we'll be in touch and your seat will be secure for next season.
On to the next one. Chris has asked, what will happen if there is a reduced number allowed in the stadium next season for home fixtures?
Yeah, at the moment, we obviously, as you know, look, we're working through every single scenario. The reality is none of us know exactly when we'll be able to return to a new normality, where that be a reduced crowd or a slightly reduced crowd, or potentially for a small period of time, hopefully, behind closed doors. So as and when we know more information, we will share that with every single fan's season card holders, very much so. And you know, it could be that there might be a period of time next season the only way to watch a game at the Bragg Group Stadium is via our enhanced streaming service. And I'm sure there'll be other questions on that. And then when we are allowed to let fans safely back into the Bragg Group Stadium, it may be that only season card holders can gain entry. So if that's another reason to buy, that's probably there. But again, you know, want to thank everyone who's been able to purchase so far and has been able to give that support. And I appreciate that there are many that would like to be able to buy, but with the challenging situation that we're all residing in, that's understandable. They can't necessarily do that at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And one from Alexander Rose, which is almost kind of touching on similar topics. He's asked, how do those who chose option 2 go about spending their money in the club shop? And then a follow-up to that was, if games are played with reduced capacities, do the 4 free tickets per season ticket still count?
Yeah, so to answer the first question, Alexander, in terms of that, we will be in contact for those that have taken effectively sort of club credit. And again, thank you for those that have taken that as an option. I think it's worth just answering there. We've had over 75% of fans that have responded to the survey so far have very, very, very kindly donated that money to the club, and that is absolutely essential at this time and need, and I appreciate every single bit of support, and I know that the board would like to echo that, so thank you for that. And then in terms of the second part of your question, yes, that's something that we're aware of, and again, hopefully later on in the season, whether that's after 3 games or after 10 games, we will do everything we can to honour that commitment of the complimentary tickets that are given to season ticket holders or season card holders, to encourage them to bring friends and families, many of which may not have been to an Orient game. If I can't believe anyone ever could say that, but there are a few out there that apparently haven't enjoyed the delights of a 3 p.m. kickoff at Bragg Group.
We'll go to one in from YouTube at the moment. So if you are watching live, remember you can put your questions in the comment box, and we'll try and get through as many of them as we can. Just picking out one there from Dave Toms, who's asked, if there is a prolonged period that games are played behind closed doors, will there be a partial refund on season tickets, as the breakdown cost per game of season ticket is more than stream?
Okay, so yeah, it's a fair question. So at the moment, we're as confident as we can be that there will be a large chunk of the season that the season card holders can see in person. Nothing ever beats being in person, but we've made clear that should, and I want to stress that word, should the situation arise that we start the season without a crowd or a sizable crowd at the Brago Stadium, that the streaming will be the next best alternative to watch from the comfort of your sofa with sort of, maybe your family around you. Hopefully that, if that is the case, that will be for a short period of time. But what we want to make sure we're stressing here is that our streaming service, through the hard work of Luke and many others, is we're looking at ways that we can make our streaming service even better than it's been before. I think we've got over all of the bugs in the system, if you like, that we perhaps had this time last year in our first couple of games back in the Football League from a streaming point of view. I'm confident we've overcome those, and more importantly, we're going to make that service the next best option to be in at the stadium. We will be doing, there's a lot more still to come in terms of what we plan to do, but I'm confident that season card holders will enjoy the value they're getting from that and take comfort that we'll be doing everything we can to show the acknowledgement of the great support that people are showing.
A question from Dave Bassett, who's asked, he started by saying he's already decided to renew his season card for next season, and appreciates that some games may be played behind closed doors. They'll be streamed free of charge. Unfortunately, I'm in the high risk bracket for coronavirus, and my wife is being shielded. I will therefore not be able to attend any games until a vaccine is available. Could you please ask Danny, therefore, if attendance at matches does at some point return to normal or with reduced capacity, will the streaming service still be free to someone in my situation?
Yeah, by coincidence, I spoke to the aforementioned fan David about an hour ago. Very nice chap. So first of all, I'll answer this for him second time round, but for everyone else that may be in a similar position. So we will be liaising with the EFL very much so. So we appreciate that there may be fans, hopefully COVID goes away or there's a vaccine, whatever it is, but we appreciate there may be some fans that have purchased or plan to purchase a season card that won't be able to attend matches because they're in a vulnerable position, or they're shielding or protecting someone like their other half that is. In that scenario, there's a couple of things that we would encourage. One, to be able to watch the streaming, and I'll get a bit more to that in a moment. Second, pass on your season card to someone within a similar category. So, for example, we wouldn't encourage a child to pass it on to an adult for obvious reasons. And we will be lobbying the EFL as much as possible to allow fans to be able to do that if that's within the rules, to do it for fans that perhaps are in that situation. So rest assured, if something can be done, we will be doing it.
Absolutely. A question again from, this one's from Twitter actually. RBS has asked, are there two surveys, one for season ticket holders and one for people that have bought away game tickets? I would like to be refunded for the FGR, Forest Green Rovers game. Does that mean I can't go for option one as a season ticket holder?
Yeah, so what I would suggest, there are different forms for away games, home games, and season cards. So I would, if it is that you're looking for a refund, that's fair enough, for the Forest Green game, is to complete that form, and then we will contact you to arrange that relevant refund for that, and at which stage we will then put your name against the kind donation of any monies that were due back on your 2019-20 season ticket. So hopefully that answers that one.
Absolutely. Moving on to one from Tommy, who's asked, I would like to renew and take money off my remaining 2019-20 season ticket games. I've tried to do this on the website, but I'm able to do so. What is the next steps I should take to do this exactly?
Yeah, so thanks for the question, Tommy, and the support with that. So if you can complete your form again that you would like, I can't remember if it's option 2 or option 3 without it in front of me, but regarding your season ticket, then once you've got that, again, we will then contact you and arrange your season card for that relevant money to be taken off. And again, if there's any queries on that, come back to us and we'll get in touch with you.
Cool. One from Jamie just said, just wanted to ask, do we know at what point in the new season the season cards will be shipped?
Yeah, so I'd say at the moment we're going through the process of installing the new ticketing system and transferring all data securely over, etc., etc. So once we're in that position and we know the likelihood of a start date, then we will then liaise with season card holders on how they can be given, shall we say, their season card pack. So details to follow.
Fantastic. This one is from Twitter as well. It says, Danny, as an ambulant disabled supporter, I understand that I need to send a normal season ticket application. Does the person I nominate as my carer have to do the same? Can't see anywhere on the application form for them to indicate they are my carer. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So if you complete the form on your own behalf, again, when we get in touch with you, we can then do the necessary details for your carer as long as you've got their information to hand.
Good stuff. We'll move on to some questions from YouTube. So Stephen has asked, with a condensed season due to a later start, September maybe, and possible early finish due to the Euros, next season, do you think there will be a lot more midweek games, or do you think that a cup competition could potentially be dropped?
I think at the moment, I've sat on a number of meetings with the EFL that me and Nigel and Kent sits on as well. And the reality is there's a lot of scenarios that could do. I think the EFL will be doing everything they can to get the 46-game season in, add as many cup competitions for the money that's involved in that from the sponsors of those. And you know, that opportunity of getting to Wembley, whether it's in the Leeson.com trophy or the chance to get to the third round and have an away game at Old Trafford or Anfield, I don't think any of us want that taken away. And yeah, I think the EFL will do everything they can to get a condensed fixture list if that scenario is needed.
Absolutely. One from Trevor, who's asked, have you been in touch with a credit card company to allow supporters to buy season cards on a 0% credit card for 12 months?
Yeah, so we are launching a finance option. It won't be a 0% interest. I'm not sure there's many football clubs that are able to offer. There are some. It's probably worth giving a better background to why that is. The reality is, for us as a football club, we have to obviously liaise with a finance broker effectively to enable us to offer that. Now, we believe that there are affordable monthly fees. Appreciate that we need to get that information out. The company that we previously used, unfortunately, are no longer in business. So we had to spend the last few months trying to find a reputable company that we trust so that our fans can have that confidence. And we will be able to launch that in the very near future, but certainly before the closure of the early bird window so that people can take advantage of that.
Fantastic. There's another one, this person's asked, again, it probably goes over a couple of things you mentioned, but I think it's good to try and answer as many as we can. He said, when does Danny expect, not hope, crowds to be allowed back in? In other words, while I know we don't know, what is the central forecast for how many games will be behind closed doors? I'll come on to a second one in a moment.
Okay, so I think the reality is none of us know that answer, but I always sort of say, look where we were 4 or 5 weeks ago. None of us perhaps would have predicted the Premier League football would be back. None of us would have predicted perhaps that the tragic death rate has reduced as much as it had. Appreciated. We'll only be happy when that's down to 0 a day, naturally. But yeah, I think we'll know more over the next couple of weeks. And yeah, again, we'll be doing everything we can to make sure that fans are kept as abreast of information as we are.
And his second question was, what are people who do not want to take the health risk of attending meant to do? Do they have to pay or lose their seats? As that seems the only choice, and a shame for people who've sat in the same place for decades. Yeah,
it's one that we've carefully considered. Now, it's a difficult answer to give this one. Again, I hope that this won't become a problem, and I'll re-stress the answer that we would encourage every season card holder who can purchase to purchase. If there is someone that is having to shield for the reasons, that's something that we'll look at in terms of with the EFL of any common policy that we could apply to that so that that fan isn't impacted in terms of being able to watch the stream as part of their season card. And then say again, we would encourage them to purchase and if necessary pass that season card on a perhaps game by game basis to someone within a similar, e.g. an adult passing to an adult rather than a child passing to an adult.
Yeah. Again, if you've got any questions and you're watching live, you can drop them in the comment box on YouTube. I think there's still a couple more to get through before we finish up. One of the first ones, and sorry for repeating myself here, Danny, but what is the plan if fans are not allowed into the stadium at the resumption of the season?
Yeah, so again, we hope that scenario doesn't arise. for the reasons I've given in terms of hoping that COVID moves on to enable, perhaps with social distancing, but for crowds to return to home and away games. If that situation does, then that's where streaming will become even more prominent and even more important. As I stress again, we're putting the kitchen sink and chucking every bit of resource we can at it to making that streaming service as absolutely good as anyone within the Football League.
Yeah, there will be probably the last question, this one then. Daniel's asked, will we see any stadium upgrades in the next couple of years, as the East Down turnstiles are very bad?
Yeah, there are areas of the Green and East Stand that do need some upgrades. I'll be honest, there was works that we were doing, literally including the some I say minor, but those that are underneath it wouldn't say it was minor, because I'd say it was essential, and rightly so. But there was some roof repair works that had been commissioned. Clearly, we paused that work because it wasn't safe to do it, and wasn't necessary to do it at that moment when crowds weren't coming in. So we will continue to do everything that we can, and we want to make the experience as good as we can. And if it means I personally have to go out there with a brush, I'll take a picture whilst you do it, Luke.
Trying to get through pretty much every question that you had. Sean Freeman's asked, would the shop ever consider selling a Leyton Orient watch to mark the championship win?
It's a good question. I think I'll take the blame for this. I don't think we marketed enough. That's a horrible word, but I don't think we did enough range planning for our title win. I was too nervous to do it beforehand, and afterwards, in all honesty, other events, shall we say, took over and became more important, rightly so, which we weren't able to deal with them, but we were. I think it's something we look at, but whilst we want to look back, we also want to look forward. So there'll be new ranges that will be coming that the team are working on, again, night and day, to hopefully delight and excite all generations of Orient fans.
A couple more come in. Someone's asked, Stephen, not someone. Stephen's asked, can Danny clarify if the transfer windows are currently open or closed, or if they're being or have been shifted?
I think he might know more than me. No, at the moment, it's technically not open at our level. At this stage of the year, normally would open on the 1st of July. We're awaiting EFL guidance on when that is, and there's a number of factors that are involved in that before that window can be opened and exploited.
Another one from Daniel. He said, how much roughly income is lost by playing a game behind closed doors, and what's the club's target for number of season cards sold?
Yeah, so I'll answer the second part first. So we sold 4,310, I think exactly, season tickets last year. Our target was and remains at that level. That may be an ambitious one with all of everything that is going on, but that will remain our target. We set high targets because that's how we get to sustainability. And in terms of the first part of the question, you're going to have to remind me.
Part of the question was how much income roughly is lost?
Oh, sorry, the difference between that. So the answer we give will be very different to what other clubs are because of the emphasis that we're putting on our streaming. Now, each match day, obviously, you lose your ticket revenue, you lose the hospitality, you lose elements such as your catering spend, your programs, your retail. All adds up. That's why 23 match days plus cup games are absolutely vital to a football club, and we're no different. The reality is the streaming will be a great service, and it will repair some of the lost income if we need that in a scenario. But again, we'll be putting the kitchen sink in it to make our streaming service popular so that we can try and recover at least as much of that lost revenue if that situation arises as possible.
Yep, having a few more coming now, which is good. Mike's asked, with the end of the season now confirmed, when is the next season expected to resume?
Again, the priority clearly is on completing the playoffs, League One, League Two, and obviously the continuation of the Championship and then the playoffs. Clearly, that's where the EFL's emphasis is on. The reality is clearly a season can't be planned in terms of fixture scheduling until those leagues are resolved, and we have to play the patient waiting game. But I suspect there'll be a potentially smaller gap than what there normally is between fixture release and the return to training and that wonderful thing called the return of football.
Very much so. Another one is, if a limited number of people are allowed in, will we have to sit at least one seat away from the other person?
I guess so much that depends on what the social distancing guidelines are, and what those guidelines are clearly will change over time. And again, we'll have to wait and see what the government and the EFL and the FA advise us on. But yeah, we're working on every scenario, whether it's 2 meters or 1 meters, on how many people we can get into the stadium in a safe way. And I think the key message here is we are, again, working behind the scenes with relatively few staff, making sure that when we're open, whether it be for a non-match day event or whether it be for a match day, that the Braille Group Stadium is as safe as can be. We're investing quite a bit of money in making sure that the stadium's a lot cleaner than perhaps it would have been previously, and people have that reassurance that when they come there, they're in as safe as environment as they would be if they were at home.
Yeah. Stephen's asked again. This one's about salary cap. So he says, how will the proposed 1.25 million salary cap and possibly 60k per player cap affect us, or are these figures just pie in the sky?
Yeah, I think it's important to state at the moment a salary cap is not in place for next year. It is something that's being worked on behind the scenes. I sit on a working group with the EFL on that. I'm not going to go into the detail of what's being discussed there, but yeah, at the moment there are figures flying left, right and centre. At the end of the day, it's for the clubs and the EFL combined to vote on, and as there is information to share, then we will share and give as much background to that as we're able to.
I've just seen Oliver has asked a question, which I think the first one we answered, Oliver. So when this is done, you have to go back and look at the first question that was asked about your season ticket. Another question from Daniel is, what's happening with all the pitch hires we lost? Can we book again when it's safe to do so?
Yeah, so we will, again, if it's safe to do so on government advice, we will accommodate as many of the pitch hires we can during the summer. We obviously got to find a balance between protecting the pitch that Colin and Taylor have been working on over the spring and summer months since lockdown, and making sure that the surface is as good as possible for Ross and the boys when we are able to go back out there and play.
Ben's asked on Twitter, well, not so much of a question as much of a statement. He just said fan cutouts. Is this something that the club's looking at?
Absolutely. Again, in the scenario that we have a reduced or no crowd, we will be looking at every innovative way possible. I think by now fans know what we're about in terms of perhaps doing something a bit different. Clearly fan cutouts have been done by those in the playoffs and German side so far, and yeah, we won't be any different if that scenario is needed. It'll be a good way to raise revenue. And again, you can have the picture of yourself or even your dog, as I saw at Northampton last night in the crowd.
Brilliant. Well, I think that probably just about wraps it all up for us today. So first of all, thank everyone that's sent their questions in today. If your questions weren't asked, and there's a good chance that what you have asked has probably been covered over the course of the last half an hour. So do go back and watch the video, which will be uploaded on our YouTube channel here. And then other than that, it's thank you, Danny, for your time this afternoon, and no doubt speak again soon.
Yeah, thanks, Luke, and thanks everyone for their questions. And say just one key message. I want to really thank on behalf of everyone at Leyton Orient for the absolute phenomenal support that we've had over the last few months. We've had it for 140 odd years, but the last few months has been exemplary. Whether it's season card sales, people not taking refunds, buying shirts, engaging with our FIFA tournament, becoming a new sponsor or renewing that, we are blessed at the Orient family that we've got such loyalty, such support, and from every member of staff, furloughed or not furloughed, thank you for everything you're doing, and that carries from the board as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Danny.
Thank you.